This is a story about dirty money and the deadly price of youth. For the first time, we will look behind the scenes of glittering Vegas to uncover the shocking secrets of the king. Our exclusive sources are the catalog of medical data and records found in the safe of a deceased politician who had been blackmailing Elvis for years. Elvis's personal physician, Dr. Fix, introduced an absolutely secret hormonal therapy, testosterone and HCG, into his regimen. The goal was to maximally increase muscle mass and sexual energy for his return to the stage at the International Hotel. This regimen was a strict contractual obligation, mandated by Colonel Tom Parker, to make Elvis look 25, generating over $1 million monthly. We will learn 5 shocking secrets extracted from the blackmailer's medical files. How his rejuvenating therapy turned into a secret medical conspiracy that led to mood swings, paranoia, weight problems, and ultimately, a tragic end. This investigation will shatter the myth and reveal the horrible truth. Secret 1. Testosterone, the price of silence. According to the found medical files, heavy money was transferred to offshore accounts not only to secure weekly secret hormone injections, but also as the first contribution to the Silence Fund. This was the payment to keep the secret, confirmed by bank transactions found next to the blood tests. Investigators working with the politician's medical archives established that the testosterone caused flares of uncontrolled anger. Secret medical records contain 17 incident reports of Elvis's aggression in 1970, where abnormally high testosterone levels were recorded. They wanted a god, but they got a psycho documented in the laboratory analysis charts. In those days, medical experiments on celebrities often went unpunished. Testosterone injections quickly boosted his muscle mass for the stage costume. These secret injections led to unpredictable aggressive behavior backstage. The king himself was forced to comply with these demands to save his career. The politician's report documents the details of this dangerous game with the singer's health. But this is only the tip of the bloody iceberg. What do you think they hid under the name extra vitamins? It's shocking. To not miss next week's investigation on Colonel Parker's secret deal with the mafia, and to find out all 5 secrets of this video, hit subscribe and leave a like under this video. We move on to the most terrifying consequences of this conspiracy. Secret 2. HCG, the anti-obesity hormone. The blackmailer politician's found medical data contains a detailed scheme for HCG administration. This hormone was used to combat the merciless side effects of testosterone and to accelerate weight loss. 90% of this hormone was used to burn fat. On stage, Elvis had to drop 10 pounds, about 4.5 kilograms, per week. This royal cocktail was a medical bomb. Secret patient cards show that HCG was used in tandem with extremely low-calorie diets, sometimes only 500 calories a day, leading to physical and mental exhaustion. The blackmailer had copies of the diet prescriptions, which demonstrate that this was a medical trap designed to maintain the facade of a stage god at any cost. Doctors used the HCG hormone to block hunger during the harsh diets. Such a combination of drugs dealt a devastating blow to his metabolism and psyche. Elvis constantly felt exhausted due to a critical deficiency of nutrients. Despite the risks, the hotel demanded impeccable physical shape for the show. Hormones ensured a quick result, ignoring long-term health hazards. These secret injections were designed for immediate but extremely dangerous weight loss. High doses of HCG, as evidenced by the documents, led to frequent mood swings. Elvis's physical shape was the priority, completely ignoring his psychological state. Colonel Parker personally monitored weekly reports on his weight and waist size. This forced rejuvenation exhausted the legendary singer to a critical limit. He often snapped at security, unable to withstand the constant pressure and hunger. This hormonal regimen turned the king's life into a real medical hell. The secret hormones didn't just affect his physical form, they broke his will. The next secret, according to the politician's archives, will reveal how medical manipulation spawned paranoia that led to the loss of $5 million worth of material assets. Secret 3. Money, the paranoia diagnosis. According to the official diagnoses found in the safe, Elvis was diagnosed with clinical paranoia as a result of hormonal imbalance. He hid cash and valuables worth $5 million. The politician used this information to demand an additional $75,000 for information protection. The politician's archives contain consultation letters from psychiatrists confirming that elevated testosterone levels created an ideal environment for psychosis. Detailed reports describe incidents where Elvis concealed money. This medical data proves that his paranoid behavior was a direct consequence of a medical conspiracy, reinforced by constant pressure and blackmail. Elvis's paranoia grew amidst the constant fear of exposure of his medical secrets. This feeling of constant persecution led to isolation from his closest entourage. Hormonal imbalance seriously disrupted his perception of reality and trust. The politician used sensitive information about the diagnosis to escalate the blackmail. Keeping the secret became a harder ordeal than the daily performances on stage. Hormonal injections actually provoked acute psychotic episodes recorded in his charts. Elvis began to suspect his friends and relatives of conspiring against him. He feared his treasures would be stolen, so he hid them in strange places. Doctors tried to treat the consequences without stopping the primary cause, the hormonal therapy. The blackmailer's documents prove he knew about the mental issues and exploited them. The singer's paranoid disorder became a perfect tool for financial manipulation by his entourage. Elvis's life turned into a real thriller, where he was the victim of a medical experiment. He even hired extra guards, whom he didn't trust, to watch over these caches. During that period, Elvis completely stopped believing anything he didn't see with his own eyes. One of the blackmailer's conditions was complete silence about his constant financial demands. The politician held evidence capable of destroying the king's reputation in a matter of hours. Excessive testosterone amplified Elvis's paranoia and impulsive financial decisions. It was a tragic cycle where illness fed on secrets and secrets fed on blackmail. Evidence shows that Elvis believed he was a target of the government and the mafia simultaneously. The politician's safe contained detailed records of his strange hiding spots, ready for retrieval. Elvis's health was rapidly deteriorating, but can we find the specific drug that began his end? The next secret, extracted from the sinful archive, will reveal the dirty name of the pill that was necessary to curb the medical chaos. Secret 4. Methamphetamine debut. 60 shows. To endure the 60 shows in 28 days demanded by Colonel Parker, doctors introduced methamphetamine, dexedrine, into his regimen. In the Found Medical Journal, this drug appears under the code name Blue Energy. 75% of his performances in the 1970s occurred under the influence of dangerous stimulants. Medical data clearly shows how stimulants gave him the false, youthful energy needed for the frantic schedule. The same journal details how the peak was followed by a crash, which required even more powerful sedatives for sleep. It was a hellish swing. Secret prescriptions from the blackmailer prove that the rejuvenating injections became a Trojan horse that opened the door to complete addiction. The use of strong stimulants was the only way to sustain such a frantic pace of work. Each performance became an extreme test for his physical and mental reserves. The performance schedule deliberately ignored the need for healthy rest and recovery. Addiction developed rapidly, turning Elvis into a hostage of his own fame. Constant doses of amphetamines and barbiturates eventually destroyed his nervous system. Doctors called dexedrine a stage enhancer, hiding the true danger of the drug. This drug allowed Elvis to go on stage, even in a state of complete physical exhaustion. Journals record a sharp increase in stimulant doses closer to the end of the tours. To compensate for the high activity, he was prescribed deadly doses of hypnotics and tranquilizers. The frantic Pete crash swung completely exhausted his cardiovascular system. These blue energies became the second stage of the medical journey to tragedy. Without these chemicals, performing the tight schedule was physically impossible. Colonel Parker personally insisted on the use of stimulants to ensure high productivity. The archive contains records of forced dexedrine injections immediately before taking the stage. Constant sleep deprivation due to stimulants was one of the main causes of his paranoia and instability. Elvis often asked Dr. Nick to change the drug's code name, feeling guilty. The neurotoxic effect of methamphetamine amplified all other side effects of the hormonal therapy. The Vegas schedule was so rigid that it completely destroyed his internal biological clock. Medical data indicates that he took over 20 different pills just before bedtime. The king turned into a pharmaceutical machine for making money under external control. Stimulants concealed the singer's true physical fatigue from the demanding audience. These drugs caused serious circulatory problems, especially during intense performances. The addiction became so severe that Elvis no longer distinguished between treatment and abuse. When his body ran out of energy, he was immediately injected with a large dose of sedatives. The frantic up and down cycle had a devastating effect on his emotional stability. Colonel Parker knew about this addiction, but encouraged it for the sake of maintaining the show. The details in the politician's medical archive confirm the unprecedented quantity of drugs consumed. Elvis constantly felt terror that he no longer controlled his body and mind. This was a real chemical war against his body, orchestrated for financial gain. Constant stimulant use destroyed his ability for natural rest and recovery. Who was the real architect of this pharmaceutical nightmare? In the final secret, we will reveal the name of the doctor who turned the Hippocratic Oath into a sinful contract, and how the blackmailer archived his every move. Secret 5. Dr. Nick. The sinful contract, the main catalyst for the secret hormonal conspiracies, as confirmed by the copies of medical histories, was Dr. George Nicopolos, Dr. Nick. It is estimated that he prescribed Elvis over 10,000 doses of powerful drugs in just the last 4 years of his life. The blackmailer had an entire folder of medical reports that were to be his last trump card. The archive of medical data shows that Dr. Nick was the medical alibi. Hormonal therapy was only the beginning. When the side effects became unbearable, Dr. Nick responded with a new prescription. Court documents, kept along with the medical records, confirmed that the doctor's actions were so egregious that he was almost stripped of his license. The politician recorded every step of the doctor and Elvis, holding documentary evidence of the sinful contract between fame and death. Dr. Nick became the main executor of the order to maintain Elvis's appearance. He used a multitude of dangerous substances to control all the singer's physical functions. Ethical norms and the Hippocratic Oath were completely ignored for the sake of huge money. Every prescription and doctor's visit was meticulously documented by the blackmailer for future threats. It was this medical contract with the devil that ultimately cost the unparalleled king his life. Nicopolos was more a guardian of the stage image than a true physician to the patient. He effectively created Elvis's medical dependence on constant injections and pills. Dr. Nick's fraudulent medical practices led to his suspension from practice. The doctor wrote prescriptions under fictitious names to conceal the true quantities. The blackmailer politician had a full list of all illegally written prescriptions to gather compromising evidence. This Dr. Death became the central figure in the singer's pharmaceutical decline. Every shot was a step towards the tragic end of the rock and roll legend. The greed and fear of Colonel Parker created a toxic environment where the doctor became an accomplice. Dr. Nick received generous bonuses for ensuring the continuous operation of the Elvis machine. His medical diary contains desperate pleas from Elvis for help that were ignored. In the 1980s, the court found Nicopolos guilty of improper prescribing of controlled substances. This verdict confirmed that his actions were criminal negligence, not treatment. Our sources prove that the politician had copies of correspondence where Parker pressured the doctor. The system demanded the impossible from Elvis, and Dr. Nick was the instrument of that system. It was a conspiracy of silence, saturated with money and powerful pharmaceuticals. Dr. Nick constantly manipulated Elvis, exploiting his fear of returning to his ordinary shape. He provided the king with everything necessary to perform, regardless of his actual health condition. The politician's archive contains testimonies from nurses about insane doses that exceeded norms tenfold. The doctor defended his reputation, claiming he was only following instructions from the colonel and the hotel. Nicopoulos's payments grew proportionally to the number of potent prescriptions he issued. Secret records confirm that doctors intervened in all aspects of the singer's life, controlling his body. Every visit to Dr. Nick was another step toward the inevitable medical collapse of Elvis. This fatal connection between doctor and star became a classic example of medical exploitation. The politician kept the medical documentation as insurance in case of any investigation into Elvis's death. Nicopoulos's unprecedented access to prescription pads was a key element of the entire scheme. We revealed how rejuvenating injections became the beginning of a medical conspiracy and dirty money. The king died from systematic destruction demanded by the stage, and the evidence was in the blackmailer's catalog of medical data. If this shocking truth has broken your perception of Elvis, subscribe to the channel right now and like this video. Next week, we will reveal Colonel Parker's biggest secret, how he made a secret deal with the Vegas Mafia so Elvis never left the US and lost trillions in worldwide contracts. Stay with us for an even more horrifying investigation.